If you're someone that loves learning from others' success and fresh perspectives, you will love the book 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. 101 essays taught me ways about self-regulation and self-awareness. Stages of perception is something that we learned in class that connects to this book. So the stages of perception are stimulation, organization, interpretation, memory, and recall. These obviously play into how you're intaking information. So if I'm talking with somebody, I'm organizing all the information I'm taking in. I might categorize them. I might categorize how I interpreted that, and that might be my perception of that person. And Brianna Wiest writes about the habits that create our mood. So if we have habits that create our mood, we might habitually categorize people about how they're speaking to us or the information they're telling us, and whether it's positive or negative, we should be aware of that and how we can make it better for us and for others. Brianna Wiest also writes about emotional competence, which is something that we learned in this course. She says, emotionally mature people recognize that infallible composure does not equal emotional intelligence. Moving right along, first we're going to talk about our subconscious behaviors and explain our power and routine, finally setting goals where you are. So, our subconscious behaviors are things that we don't necessarily recognize that we're doing, that we can bring interest to or bring our awareness to positively influence our daily routines. Moving into power and routine, this would just be how we maneuver our everyday, how we implement things that we really care about into our weekly, monthly, yearly routine, and how we notice our growth. And finally, setting goals where you are. So Wiest writes about recognizing where you are, enjoying it, but also day by day taking steps in the right direction to appreciate. For example, I'm a college student, so there's things that I can do right now, and there are things that I have to wait that I'm working towards. So she writes about just recognizing that, making peace with that, and moving forward. So as routine goes on, Brianna Wiest defines routine in stages of life in a way. So she says that the routine to a child is safety because they don't have fear of the unknown. That routine is keeping them safe, keeping it regulated. They don't necessarily realize it's a routine. And for adults, routine gives you purpose. So because you have kind of a cognitive realization that there is an unknown and that you have a fear of it, the routine would bring comfort in that by saying, I've done this before, I'm going to be where I am right now and take my routine as it is. So, habits that create your mood. So, Wiest writes about your mood being a result of habitual actions. So, again, if I have habitual actions that I do every day, for example, getting out of bed, coffee in the morning, yoga in the morning, getting ready and talking to somebody every day. Something like that will create your mood. Mood cannot be affected by, someone pissing you off one day, excuse my French, but little things that add up to regulation is what creates your mood, according to Brianna Wiest. And your shadow selves are parts of ourselves that we don't like. So this was something I really found interesting. Okay, so she says parts of ourselves that we don't like that we shove down. So if I have something about myself, for example, I'm insecure about my teeth. So if I were speaking to somebody about it, or they were speaking to me about it, and in my head I'm like, that's my kind of like secret insecurity. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring attention to it. And they're like, oh, I just got, a fresh dental cleaning. Check it out. And they're like showing me. I think, so Brianna Wiest writes that is infuriating, that someone acting out of their security with things that they love about themselves. If that's something that me personally, I'm insecure about and I'm seeing that, she writes that's infuriating, and you need to notice that and stop that, because it's an insecurity that you're projecting onto somebody else that could potentially damage that relationship, damage how you view people that have that security that you don't, you know? So I just thought that was something very interesting, very applicable as well. So moving forward, finishing tasks, spend, cleanse, and morning tasks, priorities. So this was something in the book that I also found pretty interesting. So the way that Brianna Wiest kind of explains finishing tasks, she moves forward into how you're going to start, you know, a healthy routine. How are you going to pick up where you left off? So she begins with finishing tasks that you left behind. So if you started a book and left it behind, if you did half the dishes and left the rest in the sink, finish those things and kind of categorize everything in your brain. Give yourself that peace and that ability to carry on a new one, to start a new idea. The idea of a spend cleanse is something that Brianna Wiest writes about, talking about giving yourself basically a budget until you're out of what you need. So you buy what you need, you have all these things together, and then you kind of cleanse yourself of the things that you might pick up in the aisle on the side or just order because you have 10 extra bucks, you know? So this was something that for me, I took kind of personally, because I remember that I bought, so when the school year started, I bought these pierogies. Like I bought 3 boxes of frozen pierogies, and that was kind of like my spend cleanse. I was like, once I'm out of these pierogies, I'll go shopping again. And I'm still not out, but I have what I need, and that's all I need, and it helped me save money. So that is something that I took away from that. I think I learned from that as well. And as far as morning tasks, it's about prioritizing your energy. So she writes about, you know, working on the most important things in your opinion first thing in the morning, get them out of the way, prioritize that energy, and make that something worthwhile. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that our fears are our interests. So our fears are things that intrigue us. And yeah, thank you for listening. That is all I have to say.